Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Members of TKG Club to another episode of Members Meetup with me, your girl, Rosie K. Today, we are going to be talking all about what is soft swinging. I know I've written a piece of content on this, but I wanted to also make an episode explaining a little bit more in detail about what soft swinging really is. Um, because I think it's something which probably a lot of us who are active in the lifestyle, um, or perhaps, want to get involved in the lifestyle are probably going to experience this a lot more than what you maybe have realized, because soft swinging, it is a form of swinging, and it's also kind of the the entree before the main course is served, if you like. But for some people, they just like to have lots and lots of entrees, which is absolutely fine as well. I think also um, a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to write about soft swinging as candidly as I have done, and also talk about it as passionately as I do today, because I wasn't really, not to say I wasn't on board with it, but it didn't form, um, it wasn't integral essentially to my swinging experience. And certainly when I first started swinging, I didn't even know it was a thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, really, over the last few years, soft swinging, my relationship with soft swinging has kind of come into its own, and now it pretty much is the form of swinging that I enjoy. Spoiler alert there for you all. So yeah, let's talk all about soft swinging. And when I was making this content, quite a few questions came to mind, and quite a few kind of uh, yeah, quite not questions, but quite a few kind of different takes on it came to mind, and kind of made me question other people's involvement and their thoughts around it. So, you know, I want to talk today about why might a couple practice it. How is it viewed in the lifestyle community? And are couples who practiced soft swinging, or individuals, less useful or less valid than those who go all the way? Um, and are there people who only ever soft swap? This you might find quite surprising, so listen up. So turn the lights down low on this gloriously sunny um, afternoon here in the UK. Probably one of about three this year. It's time to talk all things soft swinging. Now, a while ago, I made a piece of content which was a glossary of A to Z terms that you may come across in the lifestyle. And soft swinging was one of those which I covered, and I wrote, soft swinging is different from a full swap in that people may decide they don't wish to go all the way. Soft swap play may include oral sex or stimulation with hands or toys, and often when soft swinging, no penetration takes place. So, who are soft swap swingers? People who engage in soft swap play pretty much enjoy everything with others, but reserve penetrative sex or very intimate sexual acts for when they are with their partners. Intimacy for soft swap swingers can include physical intimacy, such as oral, mutual masturbation, kissing, flirting, and playing with sex toys, but it can also include things like role play or cyber. I'm going to back to the 90s, cyber sex, um, or kind of webcam play, and things like that. And there's nothing wrong at all with having a soft swap. And sometimes you only want to engage with soft swap with a particular couple or person that you may meet. So you may change your limits, or it may be that you only decide to do soft swap with a couple or person on the first few meets and build up to something else. So there's many reasons as to why people might choose it. So on the flip side, then, who are full swap swingers? As you can imagine, the full swap is pretty much the whole shebang, or the whole nine yards, if you like. Penetrative vaginal sex or anal sex, harder limits, and sometimes, well, yeah, sometimes um, like male anal sex are practiced as well. And sometimes penetrative sex, where a lady uses a strap-on on another woman or a man, I suppose, could also be classed as full swap swinging. It's interesting how people kind of view the use of sex toys, because they can be intrusive and sometimes they're not. So again, it all depends kind of how you view them and where you want to play with them. It's really interesting. You can never presume that kind of people are happy to have sex toys inside them. So something else to navigate for you there. Anyway, let's get back to it. Those things are usually practiced when engaging in full swap. Swex is a new word. Remember, yeah, you can be a vanilla couple who are full swap, or a soft swap couple who is non-vanilla. We're not going to confuse things and talk too much about vanilla and non-vanilla right now. Full swap generally means that you have penetrative sex, and that gets the thumbs up. But how you go about having that sex is up to you. Full swap sex can be very intense, especially if it is part of your first swinging experience. So yeah, a little bit about full swap there. Also, I think I want to point out that sometimes there's also things like closed room and open room, or same room or separate room, kind of means the same kind of thing. That can come into play as well. Maybe I should do a video about those terminologies just to confuse you further. But anyway, those can come into play as well. Yeah, just to make life more confusing for swingers. So why might somebody choose soft swap only play, or as I now have coined the phrase, swex? It will probably come as no surprise to you that when I first started swinging, I didn't even know there was such a thing as soft swap in my mind. And sadly, due to the opinions of my partner at the time, it was either balls deep or nothing. And for a long time, I believed the only way to have sex was to have penetrative sex, or shall I say, the only way I was going to have sex was penetrative sex, and that was kind of decided for me. And unless this was achieved in a swingers club, preferably with another couple, then it was a waste of your time, or waste of our time, I should say. It was essentially the whole shebang or nothing. So as you can imagine my surprise when I discovered that some couples didn't entirely swap and practice something that sounded much less intrusive and much more in line with what I wanted to experience, which was called soft swap. Sadly, it would be not until much later on in my swinger journey that I discovered the joys of soft swap. Due to being in a relationship, my wants often went unheard. I feel like that particular relationship could take up about 5 or 6 different podcast episodes. I'm not sure if I'm ready to share that with you all yet. Yeah, we'll cover that another time. You can learn more, as I said, you can learn more about the dynamics of that relationship, because it was the same person who also said that they wanted their money's worth when swinging. So again, if you want to find out more about that person, listen to that podcast or read that piece of content. Give you a deeper insight into that delightful individual. But when I first discovered soft swap by talking to other people who practiced it, I found out more about it, and then I set about reestablishing my boundaries and limits. And when I became a single woman, I found that it aligned with far more with what it was I wanted to experience than a full swap scenario did. And I found that soft swapping gave me the ability to remain in control when meeting couples in clubs, especially. And it also slowed down the pace of what was happening, because one thing that I used to worry about was I going to be expected to have sex if they bought me a drink, if I chatted to them, if I went on a vanilla date with them, what was I going to have to give in return? And that for me was a huge thing, which used to play on my mind a lot. So by establishing my boundaries as being soft swap, that kind of gave me the confidence to verbalize what it was I wanted to experience. And I found that some couples having me join them as a single woman meant that they only wanted soft swap, because again, sometimes some couples were threatened by the fact that I was a single woman and I would join them. And I was absolutely fine with that. And for a few of these couples, they enjoyed implementing sex toys and using those. So that became part of it as well. And when I began my work here at This Kind of Girl, at Rowley HQ, I found that many couples and single females especially had soft swap limits. And the most popular reasons for this were soft swap is, in theory, a form of safer sex because there's no penetration. It lessens the risk of bodily fluid contact. There are still some risks involved if you practice oral sex, but on the whole, it is a safer form of intimacy. I don't need to tell you all about using condoms. So again, and also some couples, they only like to reserve penetrative sex for within their own relationship, and it's almost like part of the ritual when they've finished at a swingers club, they've come back to the hotel or wherever they've gone home, whatever, then they enjoy that full intimacy, talking about the life, reliving it, things like that. So again, it can form part of a really ritualistic recoupling process, if you like. And some people enjoy the use of sex toys and sex aids while soft swapping, and view using items such as strap-ons as part of soft swapping because they weren't coming into contact with actual bodily parts. This is something which I can certainly relate to. I'm much happier having sex with a woman who's wearing a strap-on than I am with her husband. That's just how I feel. It makes me feel a lot safer and a lot more comfortable. But yeah, that's one I can relate to. So another one is that some swingers enjoy soft swapping far more than full swapping because it is more in line with their relationship dynamic. There have been couples who enjoyed some aspects of cuckolding, and one partner hasn't felt the desire to get involved, and has enjoyed soft swapping or watching while the other person has played with a couple or single swinger. So again, it could be that one person's happy to do the full swap or wants to get involved in that capacity, but the other one simply wants to enjoy things on a much softer level. Moving on. So are soft swap swingers less valued? You should try saying soft swap swingers really fast. I once heard somebody state loudly and disapprovingly when reading another couple's profile on Fab Swingers that, oh, they're no good, they will only do soft swap. Now, each to their own, but I'm sure you agree this type of behaviour is pretty vulgar and a turn off. And you shouldn't be sharing these kind of thoughts openly and publicly, and it's pretty rude. If you're a soft swap swinger, you know, if that's something that you align with, is that something which sounds like how you'd like to get down, or maybe you've now come to the realization that that's what I sound like, or that's what sounds right for me, then please don't worry. That person and their opinions are not the consensus among the lifestyle community. And I'm gonna share with you the results of, I did a poll recently on Instagram. And I asked people, are soft swap swingers less valued? 11% of you, or my followers, said yes, but 56% said no, and 33% said they weren't sure. So I think those results speak for themselves. And it's not the general consensus throughout the lifestyle community, and soft swap swingers are still very much swingers and very much accepted. One of my most successful swinger couples, a couple who feature in my Swinger Lifestyle Blueprint Guide, are in fact soft swap swingers. They approached me because they needed help establishing their rules and boundaries, and they were struggling to engage in a full swap and find people because they simply didn't feel like being in a full swap scenario was right for them. And since working with me and since I helped them, they've gone on to experience swinger cruises and resorts, all while happily soft swapping. They are the people who wrote to me to say they've been to Hedonism Resort in Jamaica and they've been having a fantastic time. If you know anything about swinger resorts or the world of like swinging outside the UK, you'll know that hedonism is like the go-to destination for swingers. So if they were able to go there and enjoy that, then that just goes to show that the broader international lifestyle community is very happy to have soft swap swingers join as well. And also it's important to recognize that swing clubs and parties, they don't require you to do the whole full swap either. And they are very happy for you to do whatever it is you feel comfortable with. And if another couple or individual pushes you to do more or questions your decision or makes you feel uncomfortable, then my advice is just to fuck them off. No, my advice is to politely decline and move away from people and situations that aren't right for you and find people who are, or AKA just fuck them off. That's what I say. Are people able to change their limits? Yes, absolutely. Some couples and, oh dear, I've written here simple swingers. It was meant to say single swingers. You know what I mean, all right. Some couples and simple swingers change their limits. I think that's the autocorrect thing on Grammarly does that. Change their limits depending on the environment they're in or the people they're playing with. It's not uncommon for people's limits to change over time as they become more familiar with other people who they are playing with, especially if they kind of people in a smaller community or a friendship group who they're going to meet time and time again. They work up to having different limits and things like that. Or on the other hand, they can kind of decrease their limits and decide that actually that's not the right situation for them, or they only want to do less things. What an individual wants to experience can change and fluctuate depending on how they feel within themselves and their comfort levels. They might also choose to change their limits when playing with couples or singles, and they may find some situations more suited to soft swap than full swap. If you have reservations about swinging, changing your limits or slowing things down is always the right thing to do. Regular conversations about your limits with your partner or the people that you play with are crucial to ensure everyone is on the same page. Also, sometimes you could have different limits within different relationships. For example, I don't want to swap with other male swingers fully, but I'm happy for my male partner to have full penetrative sex with other women. And yes, we all have to compromise where necessary, but we can have different limits and boundaries than our partners. We don't all have to be singing from the same hymn sheet. Essentially, as long as we give our consent and we're happy with it, we can often work together to make things happen for each other. Now, over time, how we like to swing may change, and presumably who we want to swing with may change. And with that, our limits and boundaries may change. Be prepared to regularly revisit your personal rules and boundaries and have honest conversations about how you are feeling. I think one realization that I've had, or a revelation I've had, is that very often I don't feel comfortable having full penetrative sex with men who I don't know. I used to be more comfortable with this, and it used to be something which I was kind of obliged to do, and also something I felt I had to do. And I think because I'm no longer in that position, I get to make the decisions and I get to make the choices, and I just don't. It's just something which I haven't wanted to do, and I think there is that as well. Like I just don't want to. Sometimes, granted, but more often than not, I don't. And yeah, but years ago, then I probably wouldn't have hesitated or whatever. But it's definitely something which has definitely changed over time for me. And I think I just enjoy other forms of intimacy now. But there you go. So that's all about soft swap swinging. Next week, let me look at the calendar. Let me look at the calendar. So next week I'm doing a piece of content all about 4 years at this kind of girl, where I'll be talking much more about the excuse me, Oh my God. I needed to yawn so bad. I'll be talking much more about the collaboration with CNM for us and why it is I've decided to start working with them, and also some of the realities that I faced and that have been a hard thing for me to come to terms with and swallow, and some limitations that I face, but why um I'm finally in a position where I can offer people more of what it is they all want. And also, we're talking about the things I've learned, things that I still suck at, but how far I've come, and also some things that I'm proud of, and some things that maybe I'm not. So lots of things to reflect on. 4 years at this kind of girl. That's why I plan next. Moving on into um, kind of further into May and June, I'm also wanting to make another piece of content all about is swinging just sex, and also the social aspect and why it is do people love talking about sex, and why it is that people enjoy kind of the social aspect of swinging. And also I'm going to make some content on being a verified swinger as well on websites and the importance of that. But I hope you look forward to the next pieces of content that I'm making. In other news, in other areas of my life, I bought another motorbike, which is very exciting. You may have seen on my Instagram that I keep posting little pictures of it. Hopefully, I'll be out on it within the next few weeks. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into getting it all branded up how I want it. I've had some TKG branding made for it as well. So it's very much part of everything and I do here at This Kind of Girl, and it's very much to kind of promote. So I'll see what kind of reception that gets, but I'm looking forward to that as well. And also, as I said a few minutes ago, the collaboration with CNM for us. I got some really good responses when I put out there the little video at the beginning of this week from you all. I'm very excited for that, and I look forward to sharing that with you all in a few weeks' time and revealing more about it. So lots going on as ever. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been working on here at This Kind of Girl. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I've really enjoyed it. Um, and I hope you will all join me next time for my 4 years at TKG journey so far. I know some of you been with me since pretty much the very beginning, and I hope you'll be here for very much the rest of the journey as well. Just like the future as well, because I can't do it without you all as ever. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to go. So thank you very much for listening. I shall see you all next time. And yeah, that's it really. Look for my content on Swinging is Social, and I shall see you all next time for another episode. All right, everybody. Bye.